Good evening, guys. I'm your host, Dylan, here on 1700. I'm here with the founders of the non-DJ electronic musicians of Melbourne. Sorry, that was a bit of a mouthful. How are you doing today, guys?
Very well.
Hey,
Good, thank you. So, Tom, Jake, tell me a bit about what this page is about and why did it happen?
Well, Non-DJ Electronic Musicians of Melbourne is a Facebook group that's been running for almost 2 years now. In November, we're actually going to have a gig that celebrates having 2 years of the page.
Oh, congratulations.
In that time, we've run about 16 events through the page and featured about 70 artists. We run an event on the first Saturday of every month at, the first Saturday of every month, and also a Wednesday each month at a place called Targo Margo, which is at 744 High Street in Thornbury.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. So this page obviously attributes to mainly one specific genre of music, and you are both people within that genre of music playing either in a solo act or a band of electronic music. So tell me, why did you feel it necessary to make this group exactly?
Well, I think actually it's funny you say one genre, because I think within electronic music you find at our events we have electronic hip-hop artists, acts that are more like electronic rock, industrial type acts, people who use launch pads. There's so much of a spectrum that you find in the electronic world. But I suppose I began starting the group and starting the events because I suppose when I first started with my own band, Zen Robotic, trying to find gigs in the scene, we started off often playing with a lot of rock and indie bands, and I suppose there was always a desire to organise events that featured a lot of similar type artists. So, and there were some existing Facebook groups that tended to be like electronic groups, but they tend to be often filled with DJs. And I suppose the main issue with that was that DJs tend to play in nightclubs, and nightclubs don't tend to want to take on electronic acts that play instruments. So I suppose, yeah, that's how it all came about.
Very cool. So what sort of venues, or like what collection of venues do you often play at, and like what venues do you find that are kind of accepting and also helping this scene and this community kind of get more known, and where can people find that type of music should they want to, explore into that genre?
Well, within the non-DJ electronic community, there's the events we run out of Targo Margo. There's actually another group called Slice Records who run a series of events called Geotech, and they tend to run out of Bar 303 in Northcote. There's also another group called Beat Collective who often run events at a place called The Warehouse, which is just up in, not the warehouse, it's called The Workshop. The Workshop, sorry, I'm like, where am I going with that? Anyway, The Workshop's on Elizabeth Street, just a bit further north of Melbourne Central. Loop Bar, which is in Maya Place, sort of not far from Parliament Station. They run a lot of events too. Fantastic.
And so the thing that all these shows have in common is something that most audiences might find quite appealing, that they are what's the cost of them?
Well, the events we run out of Targo Margo are all free.
Perfect. Wow. So it's like the perfect way to get into a new scene of music and also just find some new artists that you might want to latch onto.
Well, if anyone wants to be part of the Wednesday night events, basically look for the group, Non-DJ Electronic Musicians of Melbourne, and get in touch with a guy called Kieran Bowman. Kieran basically runs all the Wednesday night events, and anyone who wants to play really can play, whereas the Saturday night events are more curated. So
I'm an anyone playing on the Wednesday.
yeah, this Wednesday we have Jake, who's called
Intico, which stands for I'm Not Dead That I Know Of, so don't ever give up.
The other acts playing on Wednesday are I Hate Max, The Wild Mutations, Mad Shapes, Mutante Frequante, and Archie Jones' Obscure Overlords.
Okay, guys, well, if you want to get into a good gig, be sure to go down to Wednesday night to Targo Margo for a free gig and for some really good music acts. This has been the non-DJ electronic musicians of Melbourne speaking with me.